Welcome to Maths Lab. Today we are going to attempt to solve this equation here, 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 equals 0 using the method of completing squares. So I want to write that equation down here, 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. The first thing we are going to do in attempting to solve this equation is to group the variables on one side of the equation, and the variables we have 3x squared and 5x, and try and push the constant to the other side of the equation. And to be able to do that, we are going to we've got a 0 there. We are going to add 2 to both sides of the equation, and if we do that, what we are going to end up with is 3x squared minus 5x plus and minus 2 are going to cancel out, and on the other side of the equation we are going to have 0 plus 2, which is 2. The next step in this method is to ensure that the coefficient of the lead variable is 1, and the only way we are going to achieve that is to divide through by 3. So we are going to divide every entry in this equation by 3, and of course 3 is going to cancel 3 there, and we'll end up with x squared minus 5 out of 3x, and that will be equal to 2 out of 3. Now what I want us to do here is to pick that coefficient 5 out of 3, and I want us to write 5 out of 3 here. To be able to complete the square, we are going to have to divide 5 out of 3 by 2 and square the result. Now that's the same as multiplying 5 out of 3 by half and squaring the result, and of course 5 times 1 is 5 and 3 times 2 is 6. Of course everything is squared. Now remember, we picked 5 out of 3 without the negative sign here. We just picked the number 5 out of 3. So what we are going to do with this result here, 5 over 6 squared, is we are going to add it to either side of our expression here. Okay, so just want to rewrite this as x squared minus 5 over 3x, leave some space there and say that is equal to 2 over 3. So what we are going to do is to add 5 over 6 squared to both sides of that equation, 5 over 6 squared there. Now if you look at this side of the equation, now we have a complete square, and that being the case, we can factorize this as x, and we are going to pick 5 out of 6, square everything, and we are going to have to maintain the negative side between the two numbers. So we'll have x minus 5 over 6 squared, everything squared, and that will be equal to 2 out of 3 plus 5 out of 6 squared, and that is just 5 times 5, which is 25 out of 6 times 6, which is 36. Before we go on, I would want us to try and simplify the right hand side of the equation, and we want to do that right here. So we have 2 out of 3 plus 25 out of 36, and we want to combine them and have one fraction. Our LCM, the least common multiple there, is 36. So 3 would go into 36 12 times. Then we are going to multiply that by 2 to obtain 24. We are going to add 36 would go into 36 once. Multiplied by 25 is 25. And that will simplify into 49 out of 36. So we want to take this and write it on the right hand side of the equation, 49 out of 36. On the left hand side, we still have x minus 5 out of 6 squared. We are going to try and get rid of this square sign, and to be able to achieve that, we are going to have to take the square root of both sides of the equation. So on the left hand side, we'd have the square root cancel the square sign. We are going to be left with x minus 5 out of 6. On the other hand, we have the square root of 49 out of 36, which is going to be plus or minus 7 out of 6. Remember, our objective is to find the value of x, and that would mean we are going to move this value 5 out of 6 to the other side of the equation. And to be able to achieve that, we can add 5 out of 6 to both sides of that equation. And if we do that, of course, 5 out of 6 negative, 5 out of 6 positive are going to cancel. We're going to end up with x on the left-hand side of the equation. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we'll have plus or minus 7 out of 6 plus 5 out of 6. So we're ending up with two values here because of the plus or minus sign on 7 out of 6. Our first value is going to be, we can pick the positive value of 7 out of 6 first. So we're going to have 7 out of 6 plus 5 out of 6. And that would be 12 out of 6, which simplifies to 2. Or second value of x, if we take the negative value of 7 out of 6, x is going to be equal to negative 7 out of 6 plus 5 out of 6. And that is the same as, we can flip that equation to have 5 out of 6 minus 7 out of 6. And 5 minus 7 is minus 2 all over 6. And minus 2 out of 6 can simplify into minus 1 out of 3. So our solution to this equation are x is equal to positive 2 or x is equal to negative 1 out of 3.